March of 2017 was one of the best months for gaming in recent memory. We're barely done with titles like Zelda, Horizon, Mass Effect or Nier, and just when it seemed we were gonna be able to catch our breaths, there are more games on the way. Let's check out our most anticipated games of April. The long-awaited Persona 5 already had a Japanese launch in September of last year, and after some delays it will finally come out in America and Europe. All the trailers and the info we've gathered so far make it seem that this will be a worthy successor to the likes of the cult classic Persona 3 and 4, and to be perfectly honest, it's more than enough for JRPG fans. The story spans one school year in which our hero and a band of other teenage misfits will once again try to save the world and understand who they truly are. In case you didn't know, Persona is a unique JRPG. Next to turn-based dungeon crawling, we'll also get to take on many side quests, extracurricular activities, and bond with our friends from school. We'll also have to carefully balance our social life with the said dungeon crawling to get the best results. In other words, create the strongest personas we fight with that draw power from our relationships, the so-called social links. Persona 5 might not be a benchmark title with a budget of, say, Final Fantasy XV, but if the story is even half as good as in the previous games, it will be without a doubt a Game of the Year contender for many who fell in love with Atlus's gameplay formula.
Rim piece of shit. We're right back where we started.
Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition is a re-release of a 2011 shooter, so I'll keep it brief as you can't treat a remaster as a truly new release. Nevertheless, the frantic shooter from the team that brought us the likes of Painkiller or Gears of War Judgment deserves at least a small mention on this list. In its newest incarnation, the game that awarded us for finding the most creative ways to dispose of our enemies will come with some extras, better textures, and a 4K support on PC and PlayStation 4 Pro. Apart from that, pre-orders will be bundled with a Duke Nukem Bulletstorm Tour mode, which basically is an alternative version of the story mode, but with the legendary Duke as the main character. The best thing, however, is that John St. John re-recorded the lines from the script so that the tour mode is not just a character skin and a cash-in on the 90s gamers' nostalgia. Too bad the said feature is exclusive to pre-orders for now, but that might change soon. If that happens, Bulletstorm will become the best Duke Nukem since Duke Nukem 3D. Yooka-Laylee from Playtonic Games was a crowdfunding hit on Kickstarter and aims to bring back the gameplay formula known from the cult classic platformers like Banjo-Kazooie. After all, the studio is made up in part by key figures from Rare, so it's easy to get hyped if you grew up with games like Conker or Donkey Kong 64 and take the trailers at face value. The story is quite simple. Our dynamic duo of Lizard and Bat go on an adventure to stop the evil Capital B and Dr. Quack convert all of the world's literature into profits. A subtle nod to publishers who rejected the game, perhaps? Yooka-Laylee might not sell like a AAA sandbox, but its lovable characters and charming graphics will certainly make the backers and retro fans satisfied. If you missed old-school platforming with some puzzles and are just fine with collectathons and jumping around in colorful cartoonish worlds, well, this one will be just for you.
For the hour of his judgment is come!
Red Barrel Studios' Outlast gained much popularity upon release, and the found-footage first-person horror quickly got an expansion, Outlast Whistleblower, and an announcement of a sequel. Outlast 2 won't stray too far from the Polish formula, but seeing how the demo plays out, it doesn't seem to be a simple cash-in on the first-person perspective horror frenzy fueled by videos on YouTube in which people react to scary games. Once again, it will play as a reporter who gets in over his head in a hostile setting and spend majority of the time with the game running away from psychopaths or simply hiding anywhere we can. In comparison to the unlucky hero from the first game, the hero in Outlast 2 will be a professional cameraman and thus carrying better gear, which will give us an option to zoom or even listen in on the nearby enemies. What captured my attention, however, was the setting and the story, or rather its origins. In the next Outlast, we'll travel to Arizona, investigating a mysterious death of a young pregnant woman named Jane Doe, and surprise surprise, come across a commune of a violent apocalyptic cult. Interesting thing is that, according to the developers, the game was largely influenced by the Jonestown Massacre of 1978, a tragic ritual mass suicide which resulted in deaths of over 900 people. Now that's some scary source material. The Sniper Ghost Warrior series is a mixed bag and a typical middle-market game. Sniper games are far from perfect, they are rather short and receive lackluster reviews. Nevertheless, they seem to have a substantial fan base as the developer, CI Games, considers the series a commercial success. Having a bigger budget, the Polish studio will soon bring us an even bigger sniper than ever before, this time much less linear than the previous games, set in an open world and with much improved visuals, thanks to CryEngine. In comparison to many other AAA open-world games, Sniper's objectives won't be shown on the minimap and will be forced to do intel missions to get better prepared for our tasks. Every now and then we'll also have to check out our safe house to get better prepared, resupply, and tinker around with the game's crafting system. The developers claim that the new game will also be a good entry point for newcomers, as it will allow less tactical approaches, even though the run-and-gun method isn't the one advised. Those who grew up playing tabletop Games Workshop games, or are generally PC gamers thirsty for an exclusive game with subpar production values, are eagerly awaiting Dawn of War 3, and who can blame them, to be honest. The next RTS from the Warhammer 40k universe will combine the best elements of the two previous games, offering spectacular futuristic battles with hundreds of soldiers. The base building mechanic from the first game will make the long-awaited comeback. Next to that, the new Dawn of War will offer large-scale walkers available for each of the three sides of the conflict, the Space Marines, the Eldar, and the Orcs, whose side of the story we'll get to know in an extensive campaign. Some might feel disappointed by the lack of Tau or Necrons, I know I personally am, but those will undoubtedly arrive soon with expansions. Oh, and fun fact, you'll be able to launch your units in pods landing straight onto the enemy, which sounds pretty cool. In case you're looking for a good RTS and somehow don't know Dawn of War, don't worry, the game won't require much previous knowledge of the series. The Swedish studio Tarsier Games started out with Little Big Planet DLC, later to take over the franchise from Media Molecule. Their next game is much smaller than their previous Little Big Planet 3 or Terraway Unfolded, but it doesn't mean it can be dismissed. In Little Nightmares, we play as Six, a 9-year-old girl who goes on a journey throughout the bizarre underwater world of the Maw, solving puzzles along the way. This so-called 2.5D platformer doesn't have much going for it in terms of gameplay and numerous features, but it captures our hearts with its gloomy horror atmosphere and seems like it'll be a perfect palate cleanser after we're done with other games of April. Okay, that's it guys, those were our picks for the most anticipated games of April. In case we missed something or we missed your favorite altogether, let us know in the comment section below. As always, I'm Jordan, thanks for watching, and see you soon at GamePressure.com.